While I do not consider myself a golf cart technician, I did have a customer reach out to me and asked if I could upgrade the battery on their golf cart too. So I'm going to do that. And maybe if there's time, we'll be upgrading the roof of it to create yet another energy independent, fully self-contained cart that should never have to be plugged in. Very similar to this one over here. But first things first, let's upgrade the batteries. I've been charging it up here at the shop with my off-grid solar generator there. And I think we'll see the reason why here in a second. So these batteries are from February of 2019, which is a little over 5 years ago already, which always surprises me. Now, there's six volt batteries. This is a 36 volt golf cart. So these are all wired in series. Let's see. So I guess this is the negative right there and the positive right here. 34.63. So we're not even at 36 volts and this thing was fully charged. You can see it's been boiling a little bit. We got corrosion everywhere, which is another problem with these batteries. In Arizona, these batteries generally don't even make it 3 years. If you take care of them and keep up on it, maybe 6 years. I know everybody will say their batteries last them 12 years, but I don't know how that's true. These are now going for about $200 a piece, so we got about $1,200 in batteries right here we'd have to replace. And with some of the wear and tear on this cart, it starts getting to the point where the only real value these carts have anymore is with the battery. If they don't have good batteries, they're almost disposable. Which is a complete shame because the rest of this cart is very functional. It works just fine. I have my foot all the way down and yeah, I know it's a golf cart, it's not a speed machine, but I'm not driving particularly fast. I've just been driving it around the yard for maybe 1 or 2 passes here. There's a little bump right here. Alright, now if I put it in reverse. Alright, my foot's all the way down. It just does not have the to even get going. There we finally get going. So the owner doesn't want to buy a whole new golf cart, and they would like to stop doing maintenance on it and have a usable golf cart again. So this is an easy-go, pretty common golf cart. You can even see it's just called a golf cart type golf cart. Very original. With full batteries, or at least as full as the charger would get it before it turned off, we are now already down to 32.4 volts, which is getting pretty low for a 36 volt system. And let me get this out of the way. The battery meter still says that it's fully charged. So we're going to try to bring this golf cart back to life and make it useful again. Now, lucky for me, the owner already shipped me the battery they wanted to use, and this is going to be a lithium iron phosphate battery. Yeah, it still has a flammable warning on there, but that's just for the cargo planes. Lithium iron phosphate batteries really are difficult to start on fire or sustain fire. Now, I am quite surprised. This is a lot smaller than I thought it was going to be. Let me get this out of the box. This is the right battery. It's a Timgott lithium iron phosphate, 38.4 volt, 105 amp hour. So yeah, this is a lot smaller than I expected. But I can say it was very well packaged. That's a lot of foam on that box there. High density. And this is a steel case. It does look like you could take it apart and service it if you wanted to. I do not take batteries apart, but I know some people are very interested in that. Looks like we got some nice plastic covers. I do like that. Oh, so that's a nice feature on the terminals. On-off switch. It does look like it has an external Bluetooth antenna, and it looks like it has like a diagnostic port or communication ports there. Otherwise, oh, this thing is heavy. And that's pretty much it. It does have mounting flanges on two of the sides and some pretty heavy-duty handles, which are becoming much more common on these golf cart batteries. So it'll snap back on pretty easly. See what else we got in here. Got a box here and another box. Oh, that's a lot heavier. This first box, the small box, is going to be the owner's manual. Got a warranty card. Looks like this is the cable for that communication port right there. We have a gauge, another cable, a mount for that gauge. Looks like mounting hardware. Oh, look at that, another mount for this gauge. Let me get this stuff opened up real fast. Alright, so this is what I guess Tim got sins with everything. You get that communication cable. That's a pretty substantial Canon plug right there. I do like that. The other end of it has a, looks like a remote battery on-off switch. And it also has another plug on it, which it looks like it would connect to this plug, which then would connect to, yeah, okay, so this is going to be the data connection for the gauge right here. Looks like it's a digital gauge. It looks like you can either mount it using like a pillar style mount. So I probably wouldn't mount it like that or here because it'd probably get wiring damage. I don't know where I'd mount this, but it is a nice option. Or like a normal gauge you'd have on a vehicle. So it would mount flush. I don't know what this cable is for. Maybe it looks like it's an interface, so if you already had something right there, see if the owner's manual tells me what that is. So you get the hardware for the mounts for the gauge, and then you get an awful lot of bolts. I assume these are the terminal bolts. Yeah, that fits. And then I would guess the rest of them would be for mounting it down below, but there's no nuts that come with that. Otherwise, your warranty looks like it's a 5-year warranty. And this is all the specifications right here. The most important one, I think, is going to be continuous discharge. You want to make sure it's about 200 amps. Like, probably in this is going to be the charger. That's nice to see. So it's already going to be a compatible charger for a lithium battery. It uses computer cable, you know, the standard 120 American quick connect connections there, and it does have connections there for the battery and a quick disconnect on that. So that's everything that comes in the box. It looks pretty substantial, and the packing. Again, I'm really shocked about the size of this battery. Let's take a look at its overall dimensions. So it looks like we're, forgive me for the imperial measurements, 15 inches by 12 3/4 by about 9, well, we'll call it 9.5 with the handles there. Let's see how much it weighs. I got that thing teared. Ugh, this is heavy. It says it's about 36 kilograms, or just under just under 79 pounds. So yeah, it is pretty heavy. However, what I think is interesting is that it's really just about the size of 2 6-volt batteries here. Yeah, about the width of 2 batteries that direction, and maybe 1.5 the other direction. Which of course does make me wonder if that is comparable to 6 batteries or comparable to 4 batteries. So let me find out real fast. So I know golf cart batteries are always very odd to get good ratings from, but best I can tell, a golf cart battery 6-volt is going to be about 100 to 180 amp hours. Some of them may go up to 225. But don't forget, because it's going to be in series, that amp hours does not increase with each battery you add. So the amperage doesn't increase, the amp hours doesn't increase. That 225 is the upper limit, and 100 would be the lower limit. So I guess this would be comparable because there's only one of them. And don't forget, the lead acid batteries, you are not supposed to discharge them below their halfway point, their 50% discharge. So even at a even at 225 amp hours at the top end of these golf cart batteries, you shouldn't be getting, I guess, taking it down below 100 amp hours anyways, right? Maybe a little bit more than 100 amp hours. Whereas with these lithium iron phosphate batteries, the BMS in it will cut off once the battery is depleted, usually about 10% to its discharge rate. So probably the capacity is more than 105 amp hours, but you'll get 105 amp hours true capacity out of this battery. Use it all the way down. It'll charge up much faster than these lead acid batteries. No maintenance, and of course the most important thing, there's only one of them. It was 80 pounds. Where one of these lead acid 6-volt batteries, just by itself, I get a true measurement, right? Is about 60 pounds. So 6 times 60, that's 360 pounds compared to 80 pounds. That's, I mean, the weight of at least one adult, or adult and a child, a couple children. That should be pretty substantial savings on the cart, trying to push everything down the road too. Of course, weight savings isn't the only thing. I think the customer said this cost them about $1,500, but that does include the charger, which will charge the battery much faster. And I don't know if you guys have ever priced out these golf cart chargers before, or this one right here. These can start running about $600 by themselves. They're quiet and a lot better performance. So really, when you start thinking about it, you might be getting a better value with the TIMGOT battery than you would with the lead acid batteries. And more importantly, you don't have to check the water level on them, clean up the acid, and worry about getting acid on your hands. So I guess the first thing I have to do is take these batteries out, which is going to be pretty simple. Like I said, these are all in series. That's the positive post, negative post. I'll take out the negative first and the positive. The only other thing I will point out, even though I've been told this doesn't happen at all, they did tap off for 12 volt here. So that's negative and positive of the 12 volt, which is going to be for probably, let's see, yeah, the headlights down there, and it looks like this one has a radio built into it. And look at that, just sitting there. The batteries are already dying. Alright, so to my eye, looks to me like, just like the last golf cart, I'm gonna have to do a little bit of modifications on the base so that the weird battery fits in there. Okay, so with the batteries out of the way, we can see the acid has caused a little bit of damage to the tray down here. I have to get this all cleaned up, but there's also this great big huge ridge in between, and I hate the taste of acid. 10 and a half, 10 and a half. So the base of this isn't going to fit in there very easily. So it's 11 and I don't know, a quarter that way and that way. And then this side is where the terminals are. These battery cables won't stretch very far, so I do want the terminals this way. So I think I will have to mount this just that way in here. And while the last time I did this, I think I cut off this lip. I think I can overthink this a little bit because the overall height of this one, we already said, was about 9.5. On these batteries, it's just a little over 11 inches. So I think what I can actually do is add a little bit of framing right here and put the battery on top. So with this 1.5 inch aluminum tubing, square tubing, I think I can just bridge from this side to this side, and then the battery can just get screwed down into here and just bolt this down or screw this down into the steel right there. I think that's going to work out really easily and be a lot easier. The only thing that probably will be in the way are these two mounts, probably for what were J-bolts at one time, and somebody got sick of the J-bolts, or the hardware all rusted out anyways from all the acid in here. So my next step is to cut these tabs off right here, scrub this whole thing out, make some aluminum spacer blocks, and then put the battery in. I think it's going to be pretty simple. And then that cleaner will help dry out the water, force it out. So we'll treat it a little bit, but it's never not going to be rusty. But this is probably about as bad as it's ever going to get, because the lithium iron phosphate batteries won't be putting acid onto this metal anymore. It's another nice feature about this. Some primer I'll put on there. And I'll just back it up with some black spray paint. You gotta make it look pretty, right? Alright, now while that dries or cures, I'll go ahead and cut my aluminum blocks that I want to put in there. I'm going to cheat, and I'm just going to screw these down. In order for me to screw them down, I'll have to have a place to get the screw gun through, so I just drill a couple holes right there. I'm just going to use a 3/4 inch hole saw right here. I got that centered. Let me just go back through here. Okay. All right, let's do that 3 more times. All right, that's all done. Like I said, I'd never make it as a professional machinist or fabricator. All right, so the base of this battery, the flange to the flange, 15, I call it 1/4 because I'm not a machinist. I would like to keep it kind of centered on this just for aesthetics purposes. So by my math, I should be 3 3/8 from this side, and then 3 3/8 from that side. And then this will allow the flange to sit on here to get bolted on, and the battery will be on here too on both sides. And we'll have a pretty good airflow underneath, if all my measurements are correct. And I'll just be using some 1/2 inch long 5/16 hex-headed self-tappers. That way the screws aren't sticking down too far. That's about the perfect amount right there. I'll just line up the other ones, put those in. Okay. Now we just see if the battery's gonna fit and if this idea is gonna work, because I haven't really mocked it up. Just been hoping it'll work. This is a 2-person lift, but I don't got 2 people. So it lines up perfectly right there. So you can see the battery would not have fit with those flanges right there. And because it's aluminum, it's going to be very, very easy. Instead of bolting it down, to using those same 5/16 hex-headed screws. And the entire weight of this battery is actually still carried by the steel chassis down below. This is just a spacer block, and we won't have to worry about it not being weatherproof. And I can put a lot of these in. So I would say in this instance, that battery flange that's attached to that chassis worked out pretty well. The only thing that I would have as a critique is that these holes right here are lined up directly underneath those terminals, and I'd prefer not to, in the future, have to worry about shorting those out, so I didn't put the screws into those. I'm moving the whole golf cart with the battery, so I think I feel pretty good about that. Really, the next step is going to be to wire this thing up. Now, I don't have the battery turned on right there. It's important to know that, so I could turn it on, push it and hold for 3 seconds. It turns on. To turn it off, push and hold for 3 seconds. And then it's off. So really all I have to do is hook this back up again. So I got this charger port right there that we won't be using anymore, because this would have gone for the solid state battery charger back here. Or at least the owner could probably now sell this for $100 or so. Don't forget, each one of these batteries had a core on it, so that's probably at least $8 to $10 cores. So 8 times 6 is 48, $10, 60. So you could have a little bit of money to get back on the batteries too. Anyways, back to this. So this white wire and this black wire go to that charge port, so we don't need to hook those back up again. I will need this red wire and the battery cable, because that's the main one, but you'll notice right here we also have this lead here, which ties in over here. I suspect we're going to need that to actually make this golf cart work. And if we remember correctly, this red wire was 12 volt. Then back over here is that 12 volt feed from over there, which goes to a fuse block, which is where everything taps off of. So we will have to use a 36 volt to 12 volt converter. It's pretty standard in the golf cart world again. So the input side is red and black, that's 36 volt in. Output is going to be yellow and black, that's 12 volt out. Go ahead and get this port out of the way since we won't be using it. And don't forget, we still have to hook up the charger port, which I guess there's more than enough room for it right here. I can just screw that down. And then I guess theoretically that could go right there. But geez, that's not even really very nice that way. I guess this will be fine. But I do have that 12 volt converter over there. I just need to hook up all the power wires and these power wires, and then wire up the gauge, the shutoff switch right there. And I did talk to the owner, and they're fine with just mounting it right down here. Okay, well, I spoke to the owner and they were not pleased with my idea about cheating the system and just mounting this down here with the switch to turn it off down here too. Now they had this cover over it with the glove boxes and a dash radio. Now this dash radio, the owner says, is broken. It's a CD player and they don't need it anymore. So they authorized me to go ahead and remove that, which will make things a lot easier now, because I didn't have any place to mount this before. Because down here, you definitely would have kicked it. Down there, you would have kicked it. And with the glove box right there, there's no place to put it. But now I can mount it right there, and then I should be able to mount the on-off button right next to it. I will go ahead and disable the battery meter next to here. That shouldn't be too difficult. We'll have a much better one. And I'll just be cutting a piece of RV standard sheet ABS to fill the gap right in here in order for me to mount that into it. And since whoever installed the switch for the headlights, which is right there, really was quite the butcher with the dash right here, I'm gonna have to leave that switch there, otherwise it'll look pretty bad. So that shouldn't be too bad. Let me just do that real fast, then we can finally hook up this. The good news is that this cable would just follow the wire run right here, which goes right underneath the chassis here. Goes right up this side and then into it over there. So it shouldn't be too difficult to make a wire run on this either. All right, so you can go ahead and disconnect that button from the harness by pushing down on the tab right there and pulling it apart. So I got that piece of ABS cut, go right about there, and then we got to thinking, the owner and I, that since we had power or 12 volt back there for the radio, why not make it a little bit more future-proof now? So we'll have room for the gauge, maybe USB and a 12 volt outlet, and this. All right, I think that I can make it fit, so we won't do these right there. So those would be the USB 12 volt battery button and the gauge. All right, so I think that'll hopefully fit. Just gonna go ahead and use this metal ring, hopefully, as a big washer. It is steel, it's not aluminum, so it's a little bit stronger than I planned. See if that works a little bit better, having the clamp go against the metal. Alright, there's much less deforming of the plastic this time. I'm actually going to install this upside down, even though I'll take this off later, but it has these gaskets on it, and if they're up on top, every time you open it, the door wants to close down into it. So I think it should be down below. That way at least it stays down below. All right. All right, so we have that quick connect harness that goes to the Canon plug right there. That'll connect here. Start button, I guess, goes right here. It's a power button that turns the battery on. All right, ground on the outside. Screw it in. I got 3 holes drilled in there for screws, and then that one should grab underneath here too. Well, that was a lot more difficult to do this gauge installation than my last one, but I think it's going to be a lot more useful now. So we got the USB over there and a 12 volt over there, so if you still want to put a plug-in fan, you could still theoretically do that. All right, so hopefully we should at least be able to plug that in. If that does anything. Huh, okay, that does turn it on. Oh, I do have the gauge upside down. Great, 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 great. Okay, so those need to know the 8-pin plug is the top and the 4-pin plug is the bottom. All right, well, we got that on there. We can see it's shipped with 39.5 volts, and we're at 39% capacity. Obviously, there's no draw on it. I don't want to hook up the battery with the battery turned on, so we'll go ahead and turn it off. All right, so I think I got most of the wiring ran this time. This right here is going to be the 36 volt feed to the 12 volt converter, and then it goes to, I assume, some sort of sense for the control. So I left the spade connector on there. Remember, that went to the charge port over there. Then that'll be going to positive. I put a new cable on the positive right there, and I labeled it red so that I won't get confused. Then we have the main battery ground. And so this one right here is going to be the ground to 36 volt. So I just have to wire this up. We already have the terminals right here. The battery is off. So I'm going to put those on, and then while I'm at it, these are the leads to the charger that I haven't mounted yet, but I'll get that mounted, this stuff wired up. Before I zip tie it, we'll test it out. So it's a 13 millimeter socket for that. Get that protected. Okay. And this is overamp protection for the 12 volt converter. It looks like it fits 3 ring terminals just fine. I think 4 might be pushing it. But these terminal protectors seem like they do pretty good there. All right, so I think this is ready to mock up. Go ahead and turn the battery on. Battery is on. Put the key in there, put the key in the right way, I guess. Let me just see real fast if I got anything. Forward. Whoa, okay, that works. And there was a lot of torque to that. So let me get everything cleaned up out of here and test this out. I guess before I clean up completely, this might seem like a bad plan at first. I went ahead and I zip tied that connection to the charger here, and it's gonna be able to get access to it okay. I got this hideaway plug that should cover the hole, and just should be able to plug it in after that. I'll get with the customer to see if we can do it down the road, but to get an actual extension for a normal extension cord, which should work out really well, because then you could go to anybody's house because they'll have an extension cord. You won't have to worry about some weird proprietary golf cart connection that your friend might not have. But I do really wish that these battery manufacturers like TimGot would go ahead, if they're going to give us a charger, just give us a pass-through plug that we can just mount on the front of the cart. It'd be a lot easier that way. All right, so the battery is off. I do have it plugged in. Let's see what happens here. It looks like it turns itself on. And we should be able to watch the amperage go up. But this should charge up pretty fast. Let me clean up my mess right here. This job has taken me a lot longer than I planned on it taking. I can't deny that, just to put a battery in. It's 4:45, so I'll clean up my mess and we'll check back in 15 minutes to see what kind of charge we have, right? All right, so maybe it's been 20 minutes. We are at 48% and 40.2 volts. One of the better things about lithium is that it does charge up pretty fast. So we go ahead and turn it on. All right, still at 48%. So we got about 10% charge in 20 minutes. As I was saying, it's a pretty good feature about lithium batteries. Holy crap, this is too fast. All right, go forward. Jeez! Whoa! This is pretty fast. This is way too fast. So let's go ahead and get away from the sun again. Now this does have a Bluetooth connectivity to it, so I guess we could theoretically connect to the battery using the phone or the app that you could keep up with. But with the gauge right there, you don't need it. So if I go maximum, 110 was my maximum. If you guys want to do the math how fast I went past that. This is pretty fast. We're still at 47%. The governor does kick in, so it's not a maximum speed I'm exceeding. But don't forget that this golf cart has like 300 less pounds in it now too. Now with the top speed going pretty solid, my foot's all the way down, we've balanced out about 40 amps is what we're drawing. And we're not picking up speed anymore at all. Just maintaining our maximum speed. And so from my shop, that is, I don't know, about 2/10 of a mile, 3/10 of a mile. We have used a little bit of battery for sure. But I'm not too concerned about the battery going dead on me like I was with those lead acid batteries. I didn't want to drive out on the street because I could feel the batteries almost dying on me, which of course they were. Hello. Now I've been driving with my foot all the way down this entire time to make sure that the BMS doesn't cut out the battery, but we haven't exceeded that 200 amp maximum continuous output, so I think we're going to be safe there. But there was a few times we did go over 100 amps in the dirt there, and if you had a battery that had only a maximum of 100 amp maximum output, the battery would have cut out. Whoa. I think overall the customer is going to be very pleased with his cart now. We did use, I would call it a substantial amount. We used what, about 6-7% of the battery going up and down. Still a few more things I want to do to this cart for the customer, and one of them is likely going to be putting solar on the roof here. I do have the frame for the solar array right there, and of course the solar array right next to it. I did reach out to TIMGOT to find out if they could be charged with solar power, and they said it could be, so that'll probably be another thing I'll do down the road. But I think overall the owner's going to be very pleased with this cart, and this will last a lot longer, a lot less maintenance. We'll run out of tires first. Now we don't have to worry about battery swelling or checking the water level or cleaning up all the acid off the top of the batteries. This is going to be a lot of fun for the owner. All right, guys. Now, I will reach out to TimGot and see if they have a discount code that maybe if you guys are interested in using the battery, you can put in there to save a few dollars. I don't know. If they do, I'll put it in the description below. It's been a long day, a lot longer than I planned on, just to change out 6 batteries into one. Overall, that battery, the easiest part was mounting it. The most difficult part for me was the dash and wiring everything up. Actually, running the wire wasn't too bad. It followed the golf cart harness pretty easily. It was just all the custom stuff I had to do. At any rate, I think TimGot and all these battery manufacturers should at least put a 12-volt tap on these golf cart batteries now. And if they're going to send you a charger, they should have a plate with a plug that you can plug into very easily and not have to make what I had to make. Otherwise, thanks a lot for watching, guys. That was fun. Bye. And it's kind of crazy because a brand new golf cart costs about 3 times what my used electric car is worth. And this is much more capable, even though this battery is at 80% of its life. It has AC, can go on highway, and this is just a cart. You can't even take it on the street. Most of them aren't street legal.